Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Sajdah's Monday morning motivation. We're going to do a little money psychology tune up this morning. So thanks for tuning in to Tune Up. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Grab you some coffee, and I'll be right back.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judgest, and none can judge against Thee, and he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee, and I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who in my judgment is the master historian, taught us that of all our studies, history is the most attractive, and it is best qualified to reward the researcher. History is most attractive. Why should history be most attractive? Because history is the recorded time of the human family in its struggle to overcome obstacles. There is no life that is without struggle. The Holy Quran teaches us that man, meaning man and woman, is made to face difficulties. And after difficulty comes ease. But it is history that guides us through difficulty. For if you know how people who had difficulty yesterday got through, and if your difficulty is somewhat similar, then today we also can get through if we follow the guidance of history. This is why Carter G. Woodson and many of our black giants fought for black people to know our history. Because in not knowing our history, we don't have a guide. And without a guide, we are lost.
Assalamu alaikum, family. Peace be unto you. Happy Monday. I hope not too many of y'all got the Monday morning blues. I know sometimes that's natural for us. What y'all sipping on? I got me a little decaf, really hot decaf coffee with some vanilla in it. And I'm drinking out of my blue and white Chicago cup this morning. So welcome to Sajdah's Monday Morning Motivation. I thought we would do a little money psychology tune-up this morning because it never hurts, right? So thank y'all for tuning in to Tune Up. Welcome, welcome. A lot of times we think that you got to be real deep. We're looking for the deep science. I don't know why our minds automatically love to complicate things, especially when it comes to money. But anything that we got to do, a lot of times money, health, but especially money, we like it to be really complicated. And I can break down some economics. I can break down the psychology. I can break down the vibrations. I can break down the mental strategies. A lot of times that just makes us who can break it down look smart. And we do that from time to time, right? But a lot of times it's just simple. That's the reason why oftentimes the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad go pew, right over our heads, because it's so simple, so plain, and so straight. We miss just about everything that's right in front of us. I always give the analogy of the times when, let's say, we're looking for our keys and we're running around the house. We cannot find them keys. We're checking pockets. We're checking bags. We're looking in drawers. We're like, man, where happened with those keys? We go back outside and look in the car and we can't find the keys. And so we grab the spare and then run out the door and head out to our meeting or to work or wherever it is that we're going. And then we walk in the house after we've calmed down, maybe 8 hours later, maybe a couple hours later. We settle down, we've taken a deep breath, and we just distracted ourselves. We're not tripping no more. And we walk right in the house and the keys are right there on the counter. That's what it's like a lot of times with a lot of these things that we're trying to do. We complicate things. We go, oh, I need money. And then we make it so complicated. So we're going to just talk about some very simple things to help us tune up our money psychology this morning. I won't keep you too long, but I just want you to think about a few things. First thing I want you to start doing is, again, stop complicating things. Here's something real simple. What conversations are you having with yourself about money? Again, are you having complicated conversations with yourself about money? Or are you having very simple, practical conversations with yourself about money? Which one are you doing? Sometimes we may say, you know what, I got some things I'm working on. I need to get some money. And so we're sitting up concocting complicated schemes on how to get money, when maybe the amount we're looking for means we just need to work an extra hour. Maybe we need to pick up a job. Maybe we need to look at something that we can do online that will help bring in money from multiple income sources. Some of us don't want to do extra. We just don't want to. And we want somebody to fix us, but we don't want to put in the work. Nobody can fix you but you. And you can travel around the mulberry bush. You can create something complicated. You can do everything you need to do, but you got to fix you. And it starts simply with, what are you saying and what conversations are you having with yourself? Are you a jealous-minded person? Does it bother you because you think you're so smart that when somebody gives you a simple idea or a simple concept that you just can't stand it? You can't stand it so much that you got to just get rid of it. You just don't do it. Are you so insecure that if somebody gives you an idea or even starts talking to you, that you spend the bulk of the conversation trying to prove how smart you are? or fighting the fact that you're mad that you didn't think of that? You know, that's part of your money psychology. Do you know that's part of what's messing you up? Do you know that if you open yourself up to concepts and ideas that come around you, that 9 times out of 10, the idea is right there in your face, but because you're so busy trying to be smarter than everybody else, making more complicated than everybody else, and you're so busy trying to have more than everybody else. Are you so busy and so competitive, so busy trying to be smart and so competitive that it bothers you if somebody even has to teach you something, or even if somebody has more than you? Do you know that in many of our cases, that earning an extra $250 a week is enough to change our zip codes? Do you know you sitting around here creating complicated excuses and making complicated processes and putting all this stuff together, and it's so complicated, when really all you had to do was just figure out how to make a tweak and maybe earn $150 a week? And believe it or not, that extra $150 a week is what I meant. That $600 a month might be enough to put you in a different space vibrationally. And now you start doubling that, tripling that, and quadrupling that. You know, when I first started out, especially independently in business, when I was in corporate and I was on my smart girl thing, it was all about trying to drive home one idea, one job, one business concept that helped me make all the money. And when I realized that that wasn't working, and I started figuring out, oh, I need multiple income streams. And I thought about it, and then I struggled with that. Like, why do I need multiple income streams? Because I felt like I was putting myself in hustle mode when, look, I'm this smart person. I got a degree in finance and accounting, and I went to school, and I'm intelligent, and I got this big job, and so and I got a big title. So why do I got to hustle with other little small income streams? So I struggled with that. And then I thought to myself, that's dumb. That's a dumb rationale. That's some real deceptive intelligence, because I'm such a multifactorial person. I have so many talents, so many gifts. God shows up into me in so many different ways. Why wouldn't I have more than one income stream? Why wouldn't I have different things that I like to do that can be monetized? Why not? So all of that struggle, that egoic struggle, was holding me back. Always. I was never somebody to try to get free stuff. I've never been somebody that's really focused on free things, free money. I don't believe that anything in this world is free. Everything comes with a price. So I'm not real big on the nonprofit side of things where people go get free money. No offense against anybody who's about it, but I'll do it for some programs and things like that I can do. But I'm careful about that kind of stuff, because I already know that it can come and bite you in the butt. And it's hard to see that if it's never happened to you. But I've just had so many clients where their ideology didn't align with the people they was getting the money from, and they had an issue. And for me, because I know who I am and whose I am, and I know that I'm revolutionary in my thinking because I am working for revolutionary people, right? My ancestors are revolutionary. My guides here on earth are revolutionary. They about something different, making a difference in the world. And I know that don't always make a lot of people happy. So I'm always very careful, because I know that generally what I'm doing is something that's different and something that's revolutionary. I never get the regular projects. So that's why that's not really part of my business model. But some people, it is. Some people, some of us, going back to the way we think, little things we need to tweak. multiple streams of income. And go back to that story. When I accepted the fact that I was multifactorial and that it was okay for me to have multiple streams of income, and it was okay for some of them to be really small, especially at first. Okay. So I would do things like, okay, this particular income stream that I'm focusing on is going to pay my cell phone bill. And that particular thing that I like is going to pay, maybe a car note or some other bill. And maybe it's my big job that pays the big bills. And so I started thinking of it like that. And my other income streams started to grow. I remember, I think I was in a multi-level marketing program way back then at that time. And I started to see where the checks from that program, from the work I was doing there, that I loved because I was learning sales and I was learning public speaking. And it started paying first the cell bill, then the utilities. And I said, okay, that income stream is doing that. And then this income stream is doing this or that. And then there were times where one income stream was up and another one was down. There was times where I lost an income stream, but I still had these others that I was working on. But in teaching this concept, I've had some of you as coaching clients who feel like it's beneath you to be doing something that only brings in $100 a week. You don't know where that income stream is going to be next year or in the next few months. You never know. I know somebody who made $3 or $4 million from drop shipping Crocs online, and they already had a job. So there's all kinds of things that you can do. So don't be afraid and don't be embarrassed about multiple income streams. I'm gonna tell you else something else that's messing us up from a money psychology. And like I said, we're not gonna get real deep today. We're gonna keep it real simple because a lot of times, much of our problems can be solved with simple tweaks. Very simple tweaks. A lot of us are afraid or embarrassed for somebody else to see us struggling. If we got to roll up our sleeves and get down and dirty, we feel like we're too good for that. And so we're embarrassed, and so we won't do it. Now, that was never a challenge of mine. I never had a problem with doing what I had to do to hustle, to get, to work hard, to stay up late, to work overtime, to be tired. Some people are afraid. Some of y'all are afraid to be tired. Tired ain't going to kill you. It's not going to hurt you to stretch. And so that never bothered me. If I had to save money by walking to my office, when a period of time I'm talking about, I was living downtown in the West Loop in Chicago, and I used to walk into the Loop, and I didn't mind that because I was saving $25, $30 a day in parking. So I didn't have a problem with parking. I think at that time I was being a real car person. I probably had 2-3 cars. I had them parked in the garage, and I could either catch the bus or sometimes I would walk if it was really nice. I didn't have a problem with that. I was not afraid to let nobody see me walking or getting on the train or going on the bus stop. So sometimes there are things that you may need to do. Oftentimes in our desire to look a certain way to somebody else, we mess up our money psychology. We want people to see us and make us think that we're wealthy. This is why we make statements like, well, rich people act poor or dress poor, and poor people act rich. Do you know that? Do you have any rich friends? I hear people say white people dress poor, black people dress rich. Do you have any white friends? Most of them is just as designer driven as we are. They might be a little Bama and might not have the vibe and the style that we have. So you might not notice that them little loafers they got on are Louis Vuitton. But we got to stop making statements like that. That's a statement based on being concerned about or placing more importance on how you're seen or how something is seen. Sometimes you might be so depressed and what you're going through, your environment might be so bad that you got to get up and get dressed and look nice just so you can hold your head up high and get to work in the morning. That don't mean that you're trying to dress rich. Hell, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad dressed us in suits and dresses so that we look the part. There's nothing wrong with that. Some of us talk about, well, okay, I don't want nobody to think I ain't got nothing or I ain't got no money. What difference does it make? Because people who know you know you. People who care about you, it doesn't matter. There's that saying, stop trying to impress people that don't even like you or people that you don't even like. Which leads us into another piece of money psychology that we have to work on. Get out of this competition with other people around you. Don't let people drag you into competition. Competition over cars, competition over intelligence, competition over access to certain things. Don't let people drag you into that. What you can do is when you meet somebody and they're doing that, or you got somebody in your life, take a step back. Back up out of that, because what you don't want is that person's aggressive conversation and aggressive interest in those things to creep over and impact your vibration. You know, vibrations get exchanged and a person can easily lower your vibration. So be mindful of that. A lot of us, what we're working on is so fragile and our new mindset is so fragile that when we get on the phone with a friend or a colleague or somebody who really is just being competitive with you, our vibration tanks because they're constantly competing and comparing. Be mindful of that. Here's another thing. Stop jumping on the bandwagon of everything you see everybody else doing. Okay? Put your plan together. Stay focused. Some of y'all get off because you still got the goal, but in your brain, somebody else told you to do this. Somebody else told you to do that. And some people are so aggressive that they want you to do what they want you to do. So what they want you to do. So they'll say, look, this is what you should do. This is what you need to be doing. If I was you, this is what I would do. Well, I was you, I wouldn't be waiting around. I would call this person. I would do this or that. Do what your vibration is telling you to do. It's your life. It's your vibration. It's your healing. It's your money psychology. And if that person is a competitive person and they're telling you these kind of things, back off of it. They may be giving you a brilliant idea, but back up for a minute. And make sure that it makes sense to you. Some of y'all, when we do coaching sessions, you're all over the place because you're talking to this coworker and that friend and that cousin and that auntie and that uncle, and everybody's telling you to do something different. And so you're just chasing your tail. You're all over the place. Next thing you know, you're on a hamster wheel and you're not making any progress. You're not focusing. Some of us are so focused on let me just get money, that we start geeking. We start acting crackish. That's what me and my business partner used to call it. Start getting time to get paid. You start geeking. Somebody start bringing money up to you. You geeking. Your voice raises. It goes up an octave. You talking a mile a minute. You can't think straight. You can't, everything got your nerves bad. Calm down. If you know that you're one of those kind of persons, and I don't know if people know that they're doing it or not, but I know you all seen it before, where as soon as money gets involved, a person starts geeking. They start acting like a dope fiend, like they can't think straight. They can't talk in an intelligent way. They're just moving fast, nervous. You got to work on that. What's causing you to do that? Are you let me say it this way. A lot of times that's learned behavior. A lot of times it's learned behavior, because you think in your mind that you got to get geeked and you got to act like that in order to attract money, or you so thirsty over a couple of dollars that it messes your whole brain up. I'm just pointing out to you some simple behavioral things that mess us up psychologically. If we're a geeker like that, if we start fiending for money like that, every time money comes up, we start geeking and fiending, then guess what? What's happening to our vibration? It's lowering. It's not in alignment with what we want. We may be able to geek and fiend our way into something, but it may not be what's best for you. See, this is for people who want to take a spiritual approach to things, people who are fulfilling their spiritual roles at the same time of opening businesses and getting money and things like that. It's all part of the process. Money is the companion, in my opinion, to fulfilling your role spiritually, because money is what's going to give you those options, those opportunities to look at different choices and different things. Some of us hate money. Some of us have a bad relationship with money because we've been taught that money is the root of all evil. And we're jealous of anybody that got money. We love it when somebody that got money falls or gets taken down. We're celebrating. We're so excited. We hope they get sick. We hope they die. We hope they doing something wrong so we can see them get busted. A lot of us love that kind of stuff. We just absolutely love it. But you know what? If you really understand, this is how I see money. Money gives us choices. And money is an opportunity to serve and help more people and serve on a higher level. What do I mean by money giving us choices? I've said this 1,000 times on all of our money psychology tune-ups, and I'm going to say it again. For those of you who have barriers when it comes to money, and you can't think straight and you can't manifest unless somebody gives you something. That goes back to what we talked about last Thursday, right? Getting so caught up in somebody giving you something. Believing so much in the spook God that everything has to be handed to you on a silver platter or on any kind of platter. You don't want to work for it. You just want somebody to give you something. Some of us are so caught up in somebody giving us something that then we start taking things. We start stealing things because we just want somebody to give us something. We start geeking because the only way we get money is if somebody gives it to us. We don't know how to generate money into our own lives. But let's talk about the choices that money can give us. Think about education. Okay. If you live in a certain neighborhood, you may have, and I'm not talking about just living in an urban hood type of neighborhood. There's a suburban area that I'm thinking of. And the school system in that suburban area where they have those large houses is not as good as the school system in the next community over, if you will, the next suburb or community over. And so a lot of people have to send their children either to private schools or they have to figure out how to get their children to school in the next community over, even though they own a multi-million-dollar house in one particular community. Okay. But money gives you choices to be able to do that. Even if you're living in an urban neighborhood, if you say, you know what, I don't want my child going to this school down the street. I know this private school up on the north side, or I want to send my child to Muhammad University of Islam. I want to have options. I need money to do that. Because the free option, if all I got is free, and it's just that one option, then I may be limited. But if I have money, now I got choices. Maybe there's 3 or 4 schools I can send my child to. Maybe I can send my child to this school, but then I can afford some after school programs and some ways in which I can supplement my child's education. Well, it takes money to do that. So you got to stop hating on money because you might be limiting your child's choices. Here's another thing. Let's talk about food. When we're limited with how much we can spend on food, then we're relegated to cheap food, free food, oftentimes processed food, which leads to what? Sickness, disease. But if we have choices, we can afford to go to the farmer's market and get some fruits and vegetables. If we do go out to dinner, we can go out to a restaurant that actually serves real food and not a cheaper one that has the truck that pulls in with the ready-made stuff that all they do is pop in the microwave. So it gives us choices when it comes down to what we eat. If you think about where you live, I know y'all get this. If your money is limited, you're going to be limited in where you can live. You can only be able to live in a certain space. But as we start to make more money, as we start to grow financially, we can either change our zip code or change our environment. Okay, or we can have more than one home. Or we can pay off our house and be debt-free and live and love life the way we want and pour into our businesses. Money gives us the choice to be able to do that. So I want y'all to stop hating on money, and you stop hating, and to know if you're a hater of money deep down inside. How do you feel about other people that have money? Are you jealous? Are you a hater? Are you hoping they die? Are you hoping they get sick? Are you hoping they get taken down? Are you celebrating their demise? Something to think about. Money even impacts your spirituality and what you can believe in. Yeah, some of y'all like, I believe what I want to believe in. Really? Really, really? Can you really practice a certain level of conscious living and a certain level of spirituality if you either don't have the knowledge or you don't have the money? Probably would be really tough. I think about being a Muslim in the Nation of Islam, where back in the day, we used to be the poor, righteous teachers, the poor ones. People, oh, well, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had all this money and the people were poor. Or now people say, oh, the minister has all this money and the people are poor. Guess what? It costs a lot of money to be a Muslim, a Black Muslim in this society. This is why I'm always pushing the Muslims to stop acting like we're so poor. Let me break it down for you. You eat halal food. You eat kosher food. You try to eat farm to table. You eat clean food. You don't eat processed food. It costs money to do that. It's much cheaper to pull up in the drive-thru at your local fast food restaurant and eat off the dollar menu. It's much cheaper to feed your children off of $5 going through the dollar menu than it is to eat halal, kosher, farm to table, unprocessed food, going to the Amish markets, eating clean food, having clean drinking water. Costs money to do that. Here's the next thing. Think about your clothes. All right. I'm going to talk to the sisters on this one for a minute. It's much cheaper to run to Rainbow or some of these other places, get you a little mini skirt and a belly top and a t-shirt. Get those for your children. You might be able to outfit all the children, excuse me, for a couple $100s in some of those stores. Get a couple mini skirts, a couple little stretch pants and a t-shirt. Just buy them some shoes and it's cheaper. But you're talking about dressing in silks, being modest. You're talking about buying uniforms. Most of us wear custom clothes. We got custom headgear, custom outfits that we wear. You know, we got to outfit it with some jewelry. Most of us wear custom clothes. And if we don't wear custom clothes, we buy modest clothes that are nice. Well, guess what? When you go in the store, let's say you go to Nordstrom's, when you go in the back where the rich white ladies shop and they got the beautiful flowing garments and stuff, that costs more money. Money giving you choices. Otherwise, you might be looking a certain way. But this ain't no cheap lifestyle. All right. So I want to make those points to you. Stop thinking that you're poor. Stop thinking that everybody, all of you all in the nation and all the real Christians, y'all all poor. That's not true. You going to church every Sunday, you putting on outfits, you buying clothes, you got to tithe, you got to pay charity, you got special gifts and donation drives that you got to support. You understand that you got to finance your own freedom, so that costs money. So this is not for cheap people. This is not for people who hate money. You're not going to elevate and rise the way you think you're going to if you are hating on money, you don't want to make money, you don't have money, and you don't care about it. Even if you start talking about preparing for a famine, getting your survival kit together, stocking extra food in your pantry, that costs money. It costs money. So think about these things when you start putting labels on yourselves. When you start looking at yourself like you ain't got no money, you're poor, and everybody else around you is poor. You might be a lot of things, but a lot of times you're not poor. I just want y'all to think real simple things that's going to tweak our money psychology. Real simple. We can go deep. We can go into vibration. We can start talking about the Rockefellers and the DuPonts, and we could talk about the banking system, and we could talk about Bitcoin, and I can break all that down. But I'm not. We're talking about simple stuff. And a lot of you all, we start talking, I can hear it in your conversation. You say, I want to do some money psychology coaching. And then when you start telling your story, I'm watching your energy levels. I'm watching you start geeking when you start talking about money. I can see there's a problem there. I'm watching you get emotional when you start talking about money, getting sad. Watching how you're panicking when it comes to finances. This is all part of our money psychology. I'm watching how you are interacting with other people and y'all are in competition with one another. Who got the best car parked in their driveway? I'm watching how you have relationships with people just so you can compete against them and do better than them. I'll tell you something my father taught me. He said, you always have to be your best, no matter what. He said, you better show up and show out. And what he meant by that was you go in there, you dress the part, but you have your intelligence together. I would talk to him oftentimes when I was on the road. He said, what you working on? And I said, oh, I'm studying because I have a new client on Monday. He said, that's right. Show up and show out. Do a great job. Perform. Be that person that somebody can rely on. Make sure that company feels like they can't live without you. But again, sometimes we have ingrained in our society, in our psychology so deeply that we cannot go above and beyond to get a paycheck, and that they owe us something, or that it's a favor that they got to do something for us, that we can't study. We can't go above and beyond. We can't go that extra mile. Most of us can't even love somebody or give somebody something. When's the last time you did something for somebody? When's the last time you gave something? When's the last time you went out of your way for somebody? When is the last time you went out of your way for something? When's the last time you went out of your way for your business? Do you know how many entrepreneurs I meet that their money psychology is so messed up that they will not go out of their way or go above and beyond for their business? They put their business in a box and that is it. And I'll say, you know what, since you have the restaurant, have you thought about taking the weekend and taking a few classes? There's a few industries that I'm in, and I'm about to take some certification courses just so that I can study, just so I can go all in with those industries. How many of us have a problem with that? How many of us? I just want us to think about it. Little things. Little things. Are you always talking about how broke you are? Are you calling yourself broke? Man, I'm broke. I ain't got no money. Really? Have you ever looked around your house and just kind of walked around and said, I manifested that. I manifested this. I made this happen. I remember when I bought that. Just take some time. Take about an hour and go through your house, go through your closet, go through everything and see, and just spend time being grateful for things that you purchased. I don't care if it's a notebook. I'm a person, I like notebooks. So I got like collections of notebooks. When I fill up a notebook, I got a shelf I can go to and get another one, and I start working in that one. And I can look at that and go, you know what? I'm grateful that I'm able to pick up these cute notebooks when I go someplace and see a nice notebook. I can say, ooh, I like this one. Let me put this in the collection. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that I can go through my closet and pick out different jewelry or different hats or different tops, do different things. Be grateful. I'm grateful for these curtains I'm sitting here looking at. I'm grateful because on this side of my desk, I got a bunch of books that I have been doing some research on something on. I'm grateful that I can get these books and research. So when's the last time you went through all your stuff and just show gratitude for it? Or are you so busy trying to get more and more, trying to be like the next person, that you can't even focus on what it is that you want? Your money psychology is so bad that you only get satisfaction by chasing something, and chasing something that maybe somebody else has. Don't get me wrong. I think it's good to get motivated by other people. I think it's good to see other people and what they're doing, and they can give you life. They can motivate you. But be careful. Be careful that you're not becoming competitive. Be careful that you're not so insecure that you really can't learn from that person that you say that you admire. Be very careful about that. I get it all the time. People say, oh, I just admire you, and I really want you to show me. I really want you to teach me. And then when I start talking to them and I ask them, can you handle it? Because if you can't handle me showing you how a train of thought that you have that's off. See, a lot of people don't mind you showing them a process. Okay, here's a process. But when you start saying to them, are you open to some coaching? Can we tweak that thought process a little bit? They don't like that. Here's the last thing I want to say. Many of us are so down on ourselves. We are so doubtful of our ability. We don't have confidence in our ability to earn money and make money, that we think it's better to be a thief and to scam people out of stuff than to really sit down and use our mental capacity to come up with something. That's deep right there. And some of us are always stealing. You know how you meet people and they're just really stealing ideas all the time? Have you ever met somebody that as soon as you tell them an idea or they see what you're doing, they go run and do it? That's really popular now online. We see somebody else getting likes and hits and monetizing from something, then we want to start doing it. But listen, y'all, you can't go by likes and all of that. These algorithms only share a lot of times when people either are doing something that aligns with their agenda, or something that's very common, or something sometimes when you buy ads. I'm gonna give you an example. I had a show on the platform where I talked about jobs and how to manifest your best job or a new job or something like that. And I think the reach on that was like 80,000. When I checked the statistics, I think the likes were somewhere in the thousands, and the reach and how many different platforms it reached was almost 100,000. But when I come on and I talk about doing for self and mental strategies and giving y'all free game, I'll look on my platform that I use and I'll see where there might be a couple hundred of y'all in here listening. And then YouTube will say, oh, but there was only 2 people. I used to go through that a lot when I was on radio, because I would talk about free game. If I talked about something that was very normal in society, then the algorithm would come back and there would be all of these hits. Or you see the disparity. You see that social media, whether it's YouTube or Facebook, their algorithm is set based on what is normal, what is comfortable to advertisers or whatever. Then when I was on radio and I would look at those numbers, they'd be like 4 times as high. So you can't always go by that. Okay. And keep in mind, what's important is that you have the right vibration, because that is what's going to continue to draw the next best thing and the next best thing and the next best thing to you. I'm going to tell you, here's another thing I wanted to mention. Some of us are in relationships where the relationship is inherently competitive. And we're always trying to outdo that person we're in the relationship with, so our vibration stays low. You could be brothers, you could be sisters, you could be siblings. Sometimes there's sibling rivalries that are so blatant that everybody's vibration is low. The competition in the family is so fierce that everybody's vibration is low. Sometimes it's an unspoken competition where you might be feeling like, man, I don't want to be like my brother. I don't want to be like my sister. They done had this happen to them. They got that. They got, I'm not going to say examples because I don't want people are really sensitive these days. But deep down inside, that's how you feel about them. So when you're around them, you're always trying to one up them, even though you won't say it. And it bothers you if maybe they have more money than you. It bothers you if maybe they say something that you wish you had thought of. And so the competition is always there. And then in turn, their money psychology vibration is low because they're doing the same thing with you. Some people have that in relationships. Have you ever dated somebody who's competitive? That is the worst. I cannot stand that. See, I see, a relationship, for me, a relationship with a man means that we support each other and we love each other, and our connection with one another elevates us. So because we're just so inherently supportive of one another, just the mere fact that we talk to each other at the end of the day or communicate with one another makes us both feel better, and it elevates us. I don't want to be in a relationship with somebody where it's competition, but I've actually met guys who are extremely competitive. The minute you say, oh, I had a great day, I got a new contract today, or I met somebody and I'm putting together a proposal, they start shooting it down. Or vice versa. It's not just men that do it to women. Women do it to men too. If you're in that kind of situation, you need to look at it and think twice. Because if that person can't support you while we're in the midst of a war, we're in a warfare right now. You got people spending millions and billions of dollars trying to get your attention and get in your pockets. You got all the disparities against you as a Black person, as a woman, as a minority, or whatever, Muslim. And to have somebody close to you that's intimate, that is stepping on your neck or not uplifting you and bringing you down, you better look twice into that. See, I want somebody who's going to say, we both can recognize not our generational curses, but our generational gifts. Yeah, my grandmother may not have had much money, but she had such a mean intuition and psychic ability that she just kept passing down through generations. Her and her sister. And so all of us kind of got this sort of psychic, strong, intuitive being about us. So much so that when I first moved to Chicago, knowing that I had, I went to school in Iowa, I grew up in Nebraska, I pretty much had been around non-urban environments my entire life, but I had a mean intuition and my psychic abilities was on point. And I remember telling God, I said, I'll never know the streets the way my friends do. So when I'm navigating, I might not see certain things and I might be walking into danger and not knowing it, or I might be befriending somebody and they may not mean me well. I may miss something, but help me with my intuition. Let me use that. Let that be my guiding force. That's a generational thing. So while she may not have left us an inheritance, my grandfather may not have left us an inheritance, but what inheritance did they leave us? It's also in the DNA. My grandfather on my mother's side was extremely athletic. And he may not have left us a lot of money, but when I look at all of us, when I look at my mother and her brothers and how they're in their 60s and 70s and they look so good, their bodies are still muscular and they still work out, whether they walk or dance or lift weights, whatever it is that they do, they still look great. That's a gift. That's a gift from this man who came down through generations, who was extremely athletic. He played baseball and ran track, and he passed that down. I noticed for most of us, I was looking at those of us, the grandchildren, we ain't got no problem with working out, going, doing what we got to do, being athletic. It's easy for us. It's not a hard thing. That's a gift. Most of us all look probably 10 to 15 years younger than what we really are. That's a gift. So I choose to focus on the gifts and the benefits in my family as opposed to what society says it. That's a distraction to me. All this trauma talk, all this, you ain't inheriting nothing. That's a distraction. You know better, so do better. If you know better, then you pass on generational wealth. You don't have to keep talking about what your mom and them didn't do for you and what your daddy and them didn't do for you. You don't have to keep talking about that. You sitting up here beautiful and attractive. They gave you that. Use that. Some of y'all sitting up here with pretty skin or a nice body. They gave you that. Use that. They passed that on to you. They weren't in a position to give you certain things. So use what they passed on to you. Some of you all inherited the gift of hard work. Some of you can say, you know what? My father, my mother worked so hard. My father had 3 jobs. My mother had 2 jobs. Well, okay. Use that. Find the gift within your family tree that got passed down to you. It don't have to necessarily be tangible. So stop cursing who you are and where you came from. And I'm sorry, even if you came from what they call a traumatic background, that may very well have been traumatic. You got something out of it. You may have learned to survive. You may be doing better than those of us so-called smart people. It's a reason why oftentimes people who had to scrape from the bottom and hustle. Some people say, I came from the gutter. A lot of times they do better than those of us that was so-called prepared. You got that out of it. You might say, look, the trauma I went through at the hands of my family and my parents was so bad. But guess what? What did you get out of it? You persevered. You know not to, you broken the curse. You a first generational curse breaker. So you're not passing that down to your children. You've learned how to be and act differently. So you're not sharing and spreading the trauma that you went through to everybody else. There's gifts in everything. There's a reason for everything. And sometimes it's very painful to get to it. But the last thing I want to say about our money psychology is stop cursing yourself and stop cursing where you came from. Stop participating in these conversations about how messed up Black people are. Man, we messed up. We don't give our children nothing. We don't do this. We don't do that. What are you doing? What are you passing on? Well, Black folks don't help each other. Okay, let me tell you what I did with that. When I started coming up, when I got ready to go into business, it was different from when I got ready to get a job. When I got out of college and I was looking for a job, I had some key people that was helping me. People who was like, oh, I'll write a recommendation. I'll make a referral. I'll make this phone call. So I was blessed to be able to get into some good employment situations. But when I got ready to open up my own business, I had a hard time finding anybody that would support me, help me, or even who knew how. And so I struggled and I had to figure it out. I had to get through the money psychology of it. I had to get through the financial part of it. I had to get through the disappointment and the emotional part of it because I felt like I was alone and nobody would help me. But guess what I did? I don't talk about that all the time. Y'all rarely hear me talk about that. You know what I do? There's not an entrepreneur that will come up to me and say they need something that I won't try my best to find a way to help them. I dedicate my life to being supportive of entrepreneurs, helping you all start businesses, solve problems, do for self, get in front of checks, become millionaires. You name it. I wrote a book called The Mind of an Entrepreneur. I could have just kept the knowledge and what I learned for myself and went on about my business. But I said, I'm going to give. I'm going to give back in this capacity. I find Black businesses that I can support. I have the Black Muslim Business Directory. A lot of people don't understand it. A lot of people don't like it. A lot of people don't support it. A lot of people don't even want to be in it, don't want to work it. They don't get it. But I don't care because it's satisfying something in me because I didn't have that when I got ready to do for self. I wanted more support. I wanted more people to be there for me. I wanted somebody to adopt my business. I'm going to do a program soon where I'm working on where I'm going to be going around to businesses and literally just coming in, helping you, giving you some of this corporate knowledge that I earned with my blood, sweat, and tears. I'm going to give it to you for free. Now, if you want me to build your business, then I'm going to charge you for that. But the game is free. Nobody's telling you the game. Well, I will. So the question is, what do you do? What do you do with the gifts and curses that you claim that you have? So that was a little bit different twist on our money psychology this week, getting us ready for the week. Stop cursing ourselves. Get out of this competitive mindset. Stop talking negatively about ourselves. Stop hating money. Stop hating on other people that seem like they got money. Stop cheering on the downfall of somebody just because they have money. Stop seeing yourself as this poor, broke down person, right? Stop doing that. Okay, real quick in the chat before we go. Sister Betty says, awesome, Sister Wendy. Thank you, Sister Betty. Keen X Robinson said that book needs to be in the household of every Black person. All praises due to Allah. Thank you. Keen is talking about my book, The Mind of an Entrepreneur. It's over my head right here. It's available on Amazon. You can go get it right now. Sister Monica said, this is the science of business. Yes. I'm actually working on a series called The Science of Business. Let's see what we got here. It is a gift. I see y'all in here. Thank you for tapping in, Timestamp Army. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome. I see you. Okay, Nubia Latifa, I had saw you earlier. I'm sorry. Make sure you like and subscribe and share. Like, subscribe, and share. You know, we have to make this go viral ourselves. Like I said, if I was talking about interview techniques, I've done a show on interview techniques and the numbers were high. I've done shows on getting jobs and the numbers are high. And a lot of people like deep conversations. So if you get really deep into the science of things, people like that. Those numbers are high. I'm talking about simple things, simple truths. And like I said at the beginning, this is one of the reasons why the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad go right over our head, because sometimes they're just so simple that we miss the depth of them. And so the only way we can accept it is if somebody breaks it down and dissects it for us. And then we go, oh, I see that. I get it. I did a deep dive on accept your own and be yourself, and the numbers was high. I did a deep dive on doing for self mentally, spiritually, and physically, financially, and the numbers are high, because we always want the deep science, but sometimes things are very, very simple, very simple. So be mindful this week how you're talking to yourself. Be mindful who you're talking to about what. Get up out of all that competition that you're in. Let's see, Sister Monica says, you are breaking the cycle of crabs in the barrel, sis. We can advance overnight with implementing money psychology. Alhamdulillah. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Crabs in the barrel. I haven't heard that term in a long time, because it don't even need to be a part of our vocabulary, sis. It don't even need to be part of how we're doing. And you're right, it is a curse that we need to break. And the way you can break it is start helping people. Start supporting people, and realize that a lot of the crabs in the barrel that Sister Monica is talking about, that curse, that's why I went through what I went through. That's why I ended up going through all the challenges. If you get my book, you'll hear about it. And I'll talk about some more of them in the next book that I'm working on. But so anyway, stay tuned, because the new series is probably going to come out. June and July are going to be really busy for me, but I'm thinking maybe the end of July, we're going to start the new series. It's actually going to be a companion for my new book, and it's going to come out before the book. So it's a 15-part series that we'll do. It'll be 15 weeks or so. So on each of the shows, we're going to stay on the themes. We're going to really, really dig into these concepts. I'm not going to tell you what they are right now, because y'all know how the internet is. As soon as I say I'm going to do something, then you'll see all these other people out here trying to do it. So I'm going to keep it to myself. Loose lips sink ships. That's what one of my greatest mentors told me. Keep that circle tight and keep your mouth shut. So, okay, family, happy Monday. Yes, Sister Betty, pay it forward today. Help out somebody, support a Black business. If it means you got to get off on an extra exit, you got to drive a little further, may take a little extra time, support somebody Black, do for self, buy Black Muslim, do it, y'all. It's worth it. Help somebody out, support somebody. When's the last time you reposted a Black business? I want you all to take today and find a Black business and repost something that they're having, whether it's a show, an event. Will I be doing a workshop at National Training again? I don't know. We've talked about it a little bit, but I have not been officially invited again. I generally do it every year, and so I hope so. I love the National Training Conference. Let's just say we hope so, and we'll put it out there in the atmosphere and say probably so, because it's something that I really want to do. I really do enjoy the National Training Conference. Okay, family. Repost a Black business today. Find a Black business. If you see it in your feed, your timeline, or go look for it and just repost. Do it a few times. Help somebody out. Help somebody get exposed to your circle of friends with a good product or service that may need your help. All right. Love you all. Peace and blessings. Again, happy Monday. See you all Thursday. We're going to talk about scaling our businesses this Thursday, because I had something to do last week and we were not able to do it. All right, family. Love you all. Make sure you give a love offering. Thank you to each and every one of you who've been giving love offerings. You can either like and subscribe, hit the star button over there. Let's see who else says something. Okay. Thank you, sir. Okay. Love you all too. Or you can Cash App Sajdah Enterprises. I am trying to figure out on the 15-part series how not to charge you guys. But there might be a fee. It might be a fee to attend the 15-part series. We'll see. All right. Especially if I end up pre-recording it. If I pre-record it and we do a whole production behind it and tape it, then it may very well be a paid series. So stay tuned for that. But give your love offerings and maybe we can get through it without making it a paid series and we can just pop it out here for free like we do. I love messing the game up and giving away the game for free with people out here charging for information and they don't have half the experiences in it. A lot of people charge for stuff and they have no experience. Or they charge for stuff and they're not giving you any game. You're not going to improve anything by attending their fee-based services. It's just a trip for me. That's another thing that made me so angry and why I do so much of what I do for free and I give away so much free game because I spent so much money when I was trying to start my business, trying to go to workshop after workshop after workshop, trying to get somebody to give me game, help me. I was looking for that answer. And the whole time, the answer was right here inside of me. Interesting, right? Peace and blessings, family. Love y'all. Happy Monday.